this is the third or fourth time I had the transmission out. I think if you don't pull the transmission out a good 3 times, you didn't do it right. Actually, the flex plate bolts that I put on there, I didn't put any Loctite on. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Loctite on that. Also, the tail housing, well, let's see, also the yoke for the drive shaft, it's really short, and I measured a little bit off for the length of the drive shaft, so it only goes into the transmission about this far. Okay, but then the other issue is, if you look in here, the splines don't start until a good almost 3/4 inches back. So really, like, the only engagement is maybe an inch. So I think probably what would have happened is, first launch on radials, I mean, it would have just sheared those splines. So I've got a yoke on the way. It's about that long. So I'll have a good 2 inches, 2.5 inches of thread engagement. So that should be plenty. So yeah, I mean, don't really want to have to pull this thing apart 15 times, but it is for the best. Besides that, I got all the tube work done, mounted my little headlight switch, my other little switches and everything. So it's pretty much about ready to go back together for hopefully the final time. I finished up the transmission, painted the transmission cover and the center section cover, whatever you call this deal. Just waiting on paint to dry. Probably come back in here tomorrow and button everything up. I might do some carpeting in here. I've got a little bit left from another project, but haven't decided. I think it would help with just road noise and kind of just ride quality, comfort, I guess, something like that. But got everything coated, put some rubberized undercoating and underneath. Just kind of sprayed any spot that was bare metal besides, you know, the outside, the body itself. Did, you know, up underneath the front and all that. Get everything on the frame and all that. So, I mean, it makes it look a lot better. Obviously, there's a lot more left to be painted on here in the future, maybe. I mean, you don't want to make it too nice, because then, you know, you got that. It's kind of an eyesore. It could look cool, you know, if I put an actual decent turbo on here, fix all this hot side. And all this is just pretty much thrown together as quickly as possible just to get it out there. But it does have potential to actually be a fairly decent looking car. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it after sick week. So we'll see how it goes. So I've changed out the yoke. This one is probably a good inch longer. And also, if you can see in here, the threads don't start until about 3/4 of an inch or so back. This one starts right here at the very lip. So we're gonna have a good 1.5 to 2 inches more of thread engagement into the transmission, the output shaft. So shouldn't be worried about shearing any splines. Probably could have had the drive shaft lengthened, but you know, this is just easy enough to do by myself. Don't have to wait on anybody. So it should be a nice upgrade. A little bit of insurance This yoke is also a little bit beefier than this deal, though I don't imagine this one would have ever messed up. But nice little Sonax unit. Made a separate fuel tank for the racing portion. It's probably about 2.5 gallons, something like that. It's got a little fill on it, and I'm gonna put a single 450 Walbro. Just need to get the little hat for the little sock for the bottom, and use this as the racing fuel pump. Just have to make a little quick disconnect from power wire over to there, and then like your return, or yeah, well no, here's your return and then feed side. So I'll just have to make little hose, 2 little hoses that come over here. So I can just unscrew those and screw them into this tank for the racing portion. So you still run the same wiring and everything. I just jumped the power wire to the other tank, and should be good for what I want to do. It'll also give me a little bit more weight over here since this tank is a little offset. The only thing that might suck about this later is that this is not the tire that I'll be running. The other tire is a little bit wider, a little bit wider and taller, so it may end up rubbing on that tank if I want to move the tire in. So that might not be a permanent deal there. But I do plan on, I think, shortening the rear end just to suck it under. I may not. I might leave it and then cut up the fender well a little bit higher, and then just run some little flares for it. But let's see. I'm also gonna swap in a 160 thermostat, and I have tubing for the window net. Just a little window net kit. It's a little solid. I guess it's 1/2 inch. Yeah, about 1/2 inch. I don't know if I really need one. I'm not sure, but it'll probably come out to about right here. But just a little bit of insurance just to get out there. I also have arm restraints, just in case the car gets out of shape and you're unconscious or you can't hold your arms in the vehicle. Those limit your motion, so your arms can't come flailing off the top and get smashed on this bar if you're going flipping or something like that. So I'll have that as well. But I think I'm going to go ahead and swap out the thermostat for, I think this is like a 190 or something. It gets up to like 200 before it starts opening the thermostat. So this should help keep it a little bit cooler. Well, yeah. Thought that I wasn't gonna have to take the transmission out again, but I need to go ahead and take it out for probably 5th time, I guess, because I was watching some of my old videos and I noticed the transmission was slipping. So last thing you want is to get out there and have an issue with the transmission, and you have to drive 1,000 miles on transmission that's slipping. You're not gonna make it far. So I went ahead and got some new clutches. These are Robustus clutches for everything. I'm just doing the clutches. Clutches, got a filter, pumps, gasket, and I don't think I'm gonna do any of the seals or anything unless it looks like it needs it. So just be a quick little refresh up on it just to make sure everything is good to go for the drive. Alright, got the transmission pulled out. I've already dropped the pan before and cleaned it out, so it should just as clean as ever, or not. So there must be a lot of nastiness in this transmission. Pulling it apart because the clutches are probably smoked. So they pull the pump out and then pull the fourth gear overdrive clutches out and see what those look like first off. So this transmission is worse than I thought. These clutches and steels are completely smoked. I do have some extra parts though, so I'm going to put these steels in there instead. They're not the best, but they are definitely, there's a little hot spot, they're definitely better than those. So I still gotta pull overdrive and everything else apart and see what those look like. But the other thing I noticed, there are, and on this one, on this right here, there's chatter marks. That's not good. So I'm gonna have to do more than I thought. There's definitely a stack up clearance issue because you got metal contact right there. That shouldn't happen. Definitely. So overdrive has a stack up clearance issue. So I'm going to have to figure out where that starts at and check the in play for everything starting with the output shaft. Alright, so I got the forward clutches soaking. I'm about to start putting them in. I'm going to clean up the valve body, going to clean up the hard parts as best I can. Try and find that clearance issue. So the output shaft is contacting the input shaft. It looks like the stack up here is good. So that means that there's a stack up issue out here. So I'll have to find that and eliminate that problem. Alright, so changed out some clutches, some frictions, and steels. So overdrive smoked. Also the intermediate clutches were smoked. But I have transmission back together. Amazon sent the wrong filter, so I gotta get another filter tomorrow and it'll be ready to go back in the car. So not too bad, not too bad. Alright, pretty much got the car about as ready as it's gonna be. Put some carpet in there, makes it look a lot better. Still gotta put the windshield in. Transmission is done, ready to go. Trailer is sitting on the back of the car. Made me a little drop down hitch. Ride's pretty even. Those tires are gonna need to be changed and I'll probably keep them as spares. I'll probably just get like the wheel and the tire together. Got to redo the wiring harness. I think I've got a like a whole tail light and harness at the house. I'll pick up that, just change out two tail lights, and little wires zip tied underneath, and just plugs in right up there. This one's looking not so great, so I'll swap that out. I need to swap out this piece of junk tire. Got it, and it was defective from the factory. Whenever you air it up, there's a giant bubble on the side, and then it just starts leaking, and I don't even have but like a quarter mile on these tires, and this one's already ruined. So window nut is in. I put a little padding around the roll cage. Still gonna try and get a top for this thing, and messing around with some foam in the seat just to make it a little bit more comfortable. See, had to raise this little door handle because this handle was like right here at the bar, so you can't open it from the inside. So this is a little lever that I made, so you can just kind of grab it, push it there, and then it opens right up. Need to see about getting some weather stripping, because see, I roll up the window, roll it all the way up. It's really close right here. I think maybe this windshield pillar might be a little bit bent down. I'm not sure, because that line, the glass line, doesn't really line up that well. But I need to put a little piece of weather stripping right here, just so if it starts rattling, it doesn't bust this glass. And I believe the other side is the same way. This is factory like 64, 65 glass. So this one, I guess it's a tiny bit better, but I mean, it's not even touching. Hopefully it needs rolled up a little bit more. Yeah, just need it rolled up a little bit more. Let's see, I mean, it's definitely in need of a little bit of weather stripping. I think this whole car the body is a little bit tweaked. I mean, look at this fine gap right here. That's a nice factory gap. It's pretty atrocious. Front end is a little gappy, I mean, it's a little higher up here, so it creates a gap down there. So it's definitely not perfect. I wasn't expecting it to be, but it should work. I need to clean the glass too. And I'm thinking, got one of those soft tops on the way. I might make some little bars that go across the top, and then the back will kind of come down, probably back to the factory spots, and then have to cut a little spot in the back of the cover to go over top of those tubes back here. Got both seats in here, 2 harnesses. This is just a regular 4-point. That's well, it is a 5-point, but I'm only using 4 points on it. It's got the nice little cam lock that you can twist off. This one has just the regular push button style, and then the window net has a little buckle. Yep, pretty much the gist of it. Still gotta your key things, patch that little hole. If it rains, water's gonna go straight down and into the cab, so that wouldn't be fun. Still gonna raise the rear suspension a little bit. Probably gonna put some stiffer springs. Those are 150, maybe 200 pounds. No, they're not. They're pretty light. They're probably 150. But that's pretty much the setup. For the trailer, I'm gonna bring my toolboxes. Probably one more toolbox. Going to get like 2 more or 3 more 5-gallon gas cans. Let's see, maybe get 4 actually. I don't know how many. Carry at least 10 gallons of race fuel, probably 10 gallons of gasoline just in case. The tank is a 15-gallon. I don't know what this thing will get for fuel mileage. I'm gonna bring some oil, some connectors, spark plugs, anything I can think of. Soldering iron, some adhesives, tape, volt-ohm meter, and I'll go back to the house and see if I can find anything else that I think I might need. But still need to get a filter for this thing. Something not too long, but long enough so it doesn't hit my tubes and my wiring. Definitely need some sort of filter. Coolant system seems to be working pretty good. It holds at about 195 degrees at idle. Thing I noticed was, and then I went out for a quick little lap around the parking lot, and it was up to about 206 degrees, which on the LS stuff, from what I've looked up, that's 210, 200. It's fairly normal operating temperature. But, I'd like it to be not cold, but, lower is better for me. Under 180 would be awesome. But I got some water wetter is what it's called. It's an additive, and it's meant to work with just water primarily. It helps it stay cooler, helps the heat transfer through the radiator and getting all the heat out of that water. And it's anti-corrosive. It has anti-corrosive properties, so that'll help too whenever you're just running just water. I'll probably do that for the 240 as well. And it's supposed to help drop the temperature, it says dramatically, like 20 degrees. I don't know. And I'll take anything. I think worst case scenario, if it's not staying cool, is rig up some sort of a spray bar. Spray on that radiator. There's not too many hills in Florida, fortunately. 75 is pretty flat. Most of that area over there is pretty flat. You might go over a bridge or something like that. It's about the only incline you're going to have. Trailer's probably not going to be all that heavy. 200-300 pounds max. With fuel and everything, yeah, probably 300 pounds, something like that. So it's not a big load or anything. This car's real small. So it shouldn't take too much to get it moving along. So, yeah. Next on the agenda, I've got to put on some mirrors. I've got mirrors. I just need to get some round pieces of glass. Excuse me. Some round pieces of glass to fit into the actual mirror itself. Like some things. The wire trailer, I already did the hitch. I gotta go get a VIN tag for this trailer. And tires. Things I'm gonna be bringing: spark plugs, oil, transmission fluid, rags, shop towels, stuff like that. I've got to put the actual slicks on this thing, and that'll determine how high the rear end needs to sit, because the slicks are a little bit bigger, like maybe that much bigger all the way around. So, you know, raise it up by about something like that. Worst case scenario, I have to actually cut the fender well and widen it out. I don't really want to do that. I'd like to keep it like it is, but I could also get some fender flares, but budget's kind of tight right now. I've spent a lot of money on this thing. Also gonna do a mount for the tires, like a tire over here on the trailer, another tire will be over there. So you have 2 tires and a little stand that holds them up in the front here. Oh, and a spot for my generator, the little Ryobi green one that's about that big. Something maybe could sit right there. The only thing is I probably have to take it into the hotel with me, just to make sure nobody wants to steal it. And then I don't know. Oh, a jack. Yeah, I've got to bring jack stands. Got to bring my floor jack. So I'm hoping it'll be able to sit somewhere over here. I've got, so fuel tanks will go 1, 2, 3, 4. A little space right here for maybe some 2 jack stands. And we still got to put our like personal luggage in here, and I'm hoping that stuff will fit back in here. You know, get a smaller suitcase there and there, maybe something like that. I don't really need a suitcase. I can put everything in a trash bag, whatever, no big deal to me. Also need to wire in some USB ports, or like a cigarette charger type deal. Maybe a little cup holder like here and here, something like that. Now that everything's pretty much complete, I can start thinking about the little odds and ends, creature comforts, or whatever you want to call it. We'll definitely need chargers. Oh, and another thing I've got a little 1/4 inch push lock fitting on the radiator overflow. I really need to make like a little tank to mount, like, I don't know, right here or something. I mean, like a little quart, something like that, you know, just enough to keep it from like overflowed and spraying the tires, or, you know, whatever. I gotta make either some pins or get some nuts for these. Probably just put some nuts on this. Those are just bolts holding the front end, and they're like a hinge as well. So I thought about making like a little bumper for the front of it. Probably won't, honestly, not before sick week, but that is about everything so far. So looking pretty good.